The next speaker is Professor Marchetti. He's a background as a medical doctor, long time in clinics at the Gemelli Hospital in Rome. In 2017, if I'm right, he left the hospital and has further qualifications in public health. His recent position is at Agenas Group in Italy, where he was heading the HTA unit. And in 2022, he was elected as the vice chair of the EU HTA coordination group. So a renowned HTA expert both in the Italian and the European environment. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. So, thanks for the invitation. I'm not going to repeat. We were in agreement with Maya that she's going to give you an overview of the update of the joint work on HTA on medical devices. What I can do, I can bring to you my perspective, both for the national point of view and both for the, the community point of view that has been, that now we have in the member state after 2 years and a half, because you're right, I was elected as a co-chair of the coordination group in November 2022. I was involved at the beginning in UNEDA. I was one of the funding partners when I was in the Università Cattolica of the first UNEDA project. And then I missed the last part of UNEDA, the service contract and the third joint action. By the way, so when I tried to enter again in the EU context, my experience was from the, before Agenas was in the National Institute for Health, then because they set it up a National Center for Health Technology Assessment, but then also, after a political discussion, they decided to, not to diffuse HTA and to concentrate all in Agenas. So this is the reason because I moved to Agenas. So up to now, what I can say, just to complement the information that Maya will say, already transferred to you. So yes, we are talking about a very few number of medical devices if we are going to compare with the pharmaceutical product. In the stakeholder network that we had in November, we presented some number. So we are talking about 10, 15 medical devices, maybe, because this is, some historical results. And also you need to take into consideration that the expert panel process started in 2021, so it's and also the MDR is under revision. So we are talking about also for expert panel process, relatively new processes. And the main type of medical devices that are impacted by the joint clinical assessment is mainly on the cardiovascular system, in the orthopedics, in the plastic surgery, and the neurology, neurosurgery. So we are talking about neurostimulator. These are the main medical devices that are impacted. This is the, this is the update where we are. What I want now to add to what already Maya said is that what happened in the last 2 years and a half. So we started in November 2028, and all of us were in a completely new context because it's right, this is a new way, we are creating a new system into which, the terms co-legislation is something that have a different impact now. So in the sense that what we, I was in yesterday I was in a meeting in Italy, and in the Italian Society of HTA, and we were discussing about this new regulation. After discussion, there is a colleague from industry representative can come to me and said, you are right, I agree with you, but I'm worried about what the Commission is doing, have in mind to do. And my reply is that, I'm sorry, but what the Commission is doing, what we are doing, in the sense that this is a completely new approach to the EU. So, the willingness that the member state have to implement this regulation is really evident from the fact that 2 years and a half ago, when we started, at a certain point, we were a little bit disoriented because we were going to create a new system, and you know the regulation foresees two different configurations for the coordination group, one for medical device and one for pharmaceutical product. And at the beginning we decided probably it could be better to start together, and so we set it up this joint one configuration. That has been extended till the end of this year, and then we are going to discuss within the end of this year what will be the future in the 2026. But for sure, in the last 2 years and a half, a community has been set it up. It's not just a new community, because I mean the community started 20 years ago. We are talking about a cultural change. So I mean, first project of UNEDA started in 2025, if I remember well the date, and now what we are going to have now is the creation of a very real interconnected EU system with the national processes. We have different, Maya mentioned that we have different meetings with the notified body, with the stakeholder. I mean, I lose the number of the meetings that we had in the last 6 months. With MedTech, we have difficult meeting also with MedTech, but I mean, I need to be very transparent, very clear, because this is something completely new. So at the end, all the member states are completely agree that when a joint clinical assessment will start, no parallel process at the national level will going to be in place. And all these processes that we are going to draft in the Joint Clinical Assessment Implementing Act, in the document and guidance drafted by the subgroup, the HTA coordination group, and then adopted by the coordination group, have this in place. The objective is that this is something that needs to be useful for the member state, because it is also completely, I mean, not really rational to think about that I'm going to put a colleague of mine 40% of the time working on JCA, and then I'm going to redo the work. It's completely, I mean, unuseful. So this is the reason, because after 2 years and a half, we really realized that it's more completely useful to do things together and not to have parallel process all the time. So first point, national process. This is the willingness of the member state will not take in place when a joint clinical assessment will start. So we are going to plan the timing on joint clinical assessment in order to be compliant also with the member state national procedure. And member states are going to change their national procedure. Germany has started to change. We have 9 countries that probably you know another EU instrument, that is technical support instrument, that is going to fund study for structural reform in the member state. So now we have 9 countries, 40% of the EU population that is under technical support instrument support, to trying to redesign in the national process and trying to be this national process completely compliant. We have also Italy started in February, TSI, the reorganization of the national healthcare healthcare technology governance, France, Spain, and then we have other small member states that are under TSI. So I would also, I mean, in the last couple of weeks, last months, I would say, I mean, we have also some other, I mean, you know, when you are smelling the floor. So we have we started to talk about procurement, critical medicine. So there is many, I mean, a couple of years ago, when we have, I remember very well because I was organizing the meeting of the HTA agency group in Rome. It was November 2002, if I remember well. And one of the statements that was adopted by the AG, it was a paper on the European procurement. So this is something that we are going to move forward. And my message is so it could be very, very, very simple at this stage. We started with the European Union. I don't know, at the time it's based on it's a carbon community in 1956. 2-3 weeks ago, there's been a very interesting celebration because there's been an anniversary of the foundation of the carbon community. And it's in an Italian newspaper, they told the story how this happens. So it is very very interesting to know how this agreement was signed at the time, because it's quite something similar to what happened in the COVID. COVID pushed a lot I was in a meeting with Flora Giorgio in Bocconi University 2-3 weeks ago, and she told me that they signed the agreement at 1 a.m. in the night, and then because of the COVID, they organized a sort of party in a public garden. Probably you were present. So, I mean, and in 1956, the presidents of the French Council Minister put in the last point in the agenda, when the ministry was completely tired, know that there has been a strong resistance from some ministries, the signature of this agreement of Caribbean community. So this was something that, and then in the meantime, she had the support from Germany and also from Alcide De Gasperi from Italy. So this is the way in which now we are, we have a different completely stage, but just to tell you the story, that we comes from a carbon community, and now we are talking about and probably thanks to this HTA regulation, to a new way, way to see how member states can cooperate. Co-legislation, cooperation is quite more close to confederation or something like that. So member states are able to, at least this is my experience, I can be disconfessed, but for sure this is my experience the last 2 years and a half. At the beginning, we were trying to look something that can be, what can we do with this HTA regulation? I was completely new in the context. I was not involved in the negotiation. But after 2 years and a half, we discovered there are many Europeans. We comes from the same history, even if we are many also different contexts. So I mean, this is a completely new approach, and probably this is something that could be disrupted also in the future. This is my, I'm trying to look to the positive things, because for sure there is a lot of work, there is a lot of effort, there is a lot of, difficult conversation to have with all different stakeholders, with the member state, but for sure, the willingness to do is quite strong, and I'm completely sure that joint clinical assessment, also medical devices, because it's pharma, if it's for pharma, something new, for medical devices, something that is disruptive, this HTA European work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marco. Any urgent question? Good. We will keep the questions for the later discussion.